Hi everyone. In the part 0 of this tutorial series, we basically discussed what ROS2 is and how we can install and start using it. In this part of the tutorial series, we will basically start using our ROS and understand some things about it. So, before we can learn about the concepts of ROS, we must first know how we can use ROS. So basically, in the last video, I told you about the ROS to official documentation site. For example, ROS to Jazzy documentation. I would say installation, the documentation of installation. In every that installation document, after you will in deb packages method, you will see this command. And here it is stated that set up your environment by sourcing the following line. Basically, this command is of utmost importance if we want to use ROS2. This command allows us to source our raw features of ROS2. So without running this command, you basically cannot run ROS2. So uh, basically, you have to, whenever you are using ROS2, then you have to open your terminal and you have to type the command to source your ROS2. The command is source slash opt slash ROS slash jazzy slash setup.bash. One important thing that you should be knowing here is that if you are using Humble or if you are using ROS to lyrical Luth, then instead of Jazzy, you have to write here your specific distribution. For example, if you have Ubuntu 22.04 on your system, and if you have Ubuntu 22.04, then you must be having ROS to Humble. So in that case, you will write here ROS to source slash opt slash ROS slash humble slash setup.bash. If you have Ubuntu 26.04 installed in your system, then you must be using ROS to lyrical Luth. Then you will write here ROS to source slash opt slash ROS slash lyrical slash setup.bash. Since I am using Ubuntu 22.04 and I have Jazzy, so I will write source slash opt slash ROS slash jazzy slash setup.bash. So choose the ROS to distribution which is currently installed on your system, and then after writing this command, just press enter. Now your ROS environment is sourced, is ROS2. If I will now type ROS2 here, then you will see that the following output is being displayed. This output, if after to verify whether your ROS2 is source or not, after typing this command, just type ROS2 and press enter. Then if some these commands or this output, if you can see this output, that means your ROS2 is currently sourced. This is how we can start using ROS2. The first step to start using ROS2 is to basically source it. If you haven't sourced your ROS2 underlay, this is often also known as ROS2 underlay. ROS2 underlay means the various features or the various packages which are required to run ROS2. So before using ROS2, we must know how to source it. One more confusion of beginners is that, for example, if I have sourced ROS2 in one terminal, then can I also use it in another terminal? The answer is no. Whenever you are using ROS2, you have to source it in every terminal. For example, I have opened a new terminal, a second terminal. Let me resize my windows. Yes. So for in this terminal, now I'm going to type ROS2 and then I will press enter. As you can see, an error is displayed stating ROS2 command not found. This error is ROS2 command not found, which means my ROS2 is not sourced. Here, if I will type ROS2 and press enter, then the following output will be displayed, because in this terminal ROS2 is sourced. So basically inside this terminal I can use ROS2, but inside this terminal I cannot use ROS2 because here ROS2 is not sourced. So I will type again the command to source ROS2, which for me is opt slash ROS slash jazzy slash setup forward slash, I should say in fact, slash setup.bash. Now you can see now my environment is sourced. Now if when I will type ROS2 and press enter, then the following output is being displayed, which means now my ROS2 is working correctly. If you found this error ROS2 command not found, then run this line and then again execute the command ROS2. Now it will start working if ROS2 is correctly installed and configured on your system. As you can see, now I can use ROS2 in both of these terminals. So to use ROS2, you have to source it on every terminal which you are using. For example, if I open a third new terminal here, then I also have to source in this terminal my ROS to use it. For example, I am sourcing it here also, .bash ROS2. As you can see, the following output is being displayed. So now my ROS2 is sourced in this one. Now I can use my ROS2 in all of these three terminals. So as you can see, this can be a very tiring, or I would say repetitive process to write the command, such a lengthy command to source our ROS2 workspace every time we open a new terminal. So to avoid doing this task again and again, there is a workaround, or you can say there is a smart trick we can use to avoid doing this task again and again. There is something known as, let me show you. There is something inside every Linux operating system. There is something known as .bashrc file. Inside every Ubuntu, I would say, in .bashrc file. What happens that whenever you open a new terminal, then here in .bashrc file, a set of instructions are written. Several set of instructions are written from top to bottom. You will find several lines written inside your .bashrc file. Whenever you open a new terminal, then all the lines inside this file execute from top to bottom. All the lines inside this file. This file is a very important file. If you delete the contents of your file, then your entire Linux operating system can get corrupted, and you won't be able to use your Linux operating system. This file is of such importance. So before tampering, you should always practice caution while you are making some changes in this file, as it is of very important. The file's name is .bashrc. So if we do not want to type the command to source our ROS environment every time, then we have to basically make a small change in this bashrc file. Now to do that, let's go back, and there is a tool which you need to install. A tool which can allow you to easily edit text. This tool is known as Gedit. Search for Gedit installation command on Google for Linux. Gedit is basically a lightweight text editor which allows you to edit small text files easily. As you can see, just run this command: sudo apt update and sudo apt install Gedit. For example, I'm now just copy paste this command, sudo apt update and sudo apt install Gedit. Just copy paste this entire command. It will install Gedit on your system. Let me do that. So as you can see, in one thing that you should remember is that in Linux operating system, the command to copy something in terminal is not Control plus V, it is Control plus Shift plus V. So when you press Control plus Shift plus V, then the command which we copied from Google, we can now paste it here. So since we have used sudo command, so I have to enter the password of my Linux operating system. So the first command is of sudo apt update. It is updating for some packages. Now it will ask my password one more time to install Gedit. This installation speed depends on your internet connection, basically. As you can see, here an output is being displayed stating that Gedit is already the newest version. I have already installed Gedit, which is why I am getting this output, but in your system Gedit will be installed. So just run this command, sudo apt update, and just pause the video and run this command to install Gedit on your system, and proceed once Gedit is successfully installed. So now since Gedit is successfully installed, so now we will start editing our bashrc file. Just type gedit make sure you are on the home root directory of your system. Root directory means there is nothing written after this sign which I have highlighted. This sign is called tilde sign. So there is nothing should be written after this sign. If to ensure that you are in your home directory, just write cd and this tilde sign from your keyboard. So in your home directory, you have to write gedit.bashrc. What this command will do, this command will basically open the .bashrc file using the gedit text editor. So I am just writing gedit.bashrc, and as you can see, this is our bashrc file. From top to bottom, you can see several commands written inside here. As you can see, executed by bash for non-login shells. And here are several commands. Do not make any changes here. These commands are very important for your Linux operating system. If you make some changes without any knowledge, then you risk corrupting your entire Linux operating system. So do not make any changes in the commands which are already written. Just go towards the bottom, at the very bottom, and write a simple command: source /opt /ROS /jazzy /setup.bash. Since I told you that bashrc is a file which gets executed from top to bottom every time we open a new terminal. So if you write the command to source ROS2 underlay inside your bashrc file, then the environment of ROS will get automatically sourced whenever you open a new terminal, because all the lines in this file gets executed automatically whenever we open a new terminal. So in this case, basically you don't have to type this command again and again every time you open a terminal, which basically saves a lot of time. So I'm just writing this command: source /opt /ROS /jazzy /setup.bash. You should write the command according to the distribution which are using. Change Jazzy to Humble if you are using ROS to Humble, and change Jazzy to Lyrical if you are using ROS to Lyrical. Now after writing this command, write this command in a new line. For example, as you can see, I have written this on a completely new line. All right. So write this command on a new line at the very end of your .bashrc file. Then press Ctrl+S to save your file, and then simply close it. Now I will open a new fresh terminal. For example, I have opened an entirely new terminal, and now when I haven't typed the commands to source my ROS environment, but when I will type ROS2, then as you can see, ROS2 is already sourced because I am getting this output. I am not getting the command not found error. I am getting this output, which means ROS2 is already sourced. The ROS2 got already sourced because we added the command to source our workspace in my bashrc file. So now I don't have to type uh, command to source my workspace every time I am opening a new terminal. For example, let's open 2 to 3 terminals and verify whether our ROS2 environment is sourced or not. In this terminal, as you can see, it is already sourced. I am opening a new terminal also. In this also, you can see the ROS2 environment is already sourced. So this is why it is always recommended to add the option to source your ROS2 environment in your .bashrc file, to avoid the in a repetitive task of doing it yourself manually again and again. So now basically, till now in this video, what we have done is, let me erase this. Till now in our video, we have learned how to source ROS2. So we haven't started using ROS2 yet, but we have learned how to source ROS2, because without sourcing we cannot use ROS2. So now next we will start learning about ROS2. We have learned how to source ROS2. We have installed Gedit till now. Gedit, I recommend installing Gedit, because it is, using Gedit, it becomes very easy to make quick changes, just like in a file, just like we did with our bashrc file right now. And there are two more things that you should install. One is VS Code, and second is Terminator. Now let me explain what are these two. We have already installed this right now. Now the second command is VS Code. Now you probably have heard the name VS Code earlier also. VS Code is basically an IDE. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. So I recommend installing VS Code because it provides a lot of extensions. It also provides extensions for ROS 2, and it is being used for professional development from last many years. It has been used by many developers, and it is being used from last many years. So it has a wide community support. Wide community support, I mean that there are it has nearly no bugs. You will hardly find any bugs, and uh, even if there are some errors, it has already been taken care by Microsoft. I think Microsoft maintains VS Code. So this is why VS Code is the recommended IDE, because it basically provides all the features that you would need for professional development, including extensions and syntax highlighting for your Python or C++ programs. So which is why installing this VS Code is also recommended. Now I will explain you what Terminator is. First, let's install VS Code. So you can find the command to install VS Code on your Linux by searching on Google. VS Code installation command for Linux. I'm search. I think it is sudo snap. All right, my internet is not working. Oh, it is working. So yes, this is not the command to install actually. Uh, yes, use this command. This sudo snap, don't use these all the these all are very complicated commands. Just use this one. This one is a universal format which will work in any distribution, whether you are using lyrical. So just type or jazzy or Ubuntu 22, any version, it will work. So just type sudo snap install dash dash classic code. Just type this command sudo snap install space dash dash classic code, and it will ask for your password, which you need to enter. See here, an output is being displayed. Snap code is already installed. See snap help refresh. So in my system, I have already installed VS Code, which is why this output is being displayed. Once you run this command, then VS Code will be installed on your system. So make sure to run this command. After running this command, VS Code will be installed. If you are asked for permission to install, then you press Y. Pressing Y will give the permission to your Linux operating system to install VS Code. Now we have installed, we have till now we have installed Gedit. We have also installed VS Code. These three tools you must install. You can also use ROS 2 without installing these tools. These are not mandatory, but I would recommend it because it will make your experience with ROS 2 a lot smoother, I would say. Now I will basically explain you what is Terminator and why you should install it. This is the part of setting up ROS 2. So basically, by default, if you have freshly installed your system, then by default you will get this terminal. This terminal is often known as genome terminal. Genome terminal, and this is the by default terminal that we usually get in our Linux operating systems. Now let's suppose you have to open multiple terminals, because in ROS 2 usually we don't use a single terminal. We have to open multiple terminals. For example, when you in future when you will learn publisher subscriber systems, then basically we have to work and manage with multiple terminal instances. Opening one terminal is not ideal. So here using this command, you can press this command to open multiple terminals. For example, I pressed it once, then so now I have two terminals, one terminal which was opened by default and a second terminal also. If I again press this icon, then 3 terminals have been opened. So you can basically open and use 3 terminals, but as you can see, if you are working in this terminal, for example in this one, and you want to go to the second one, then you have to manually use your mouse to click here and go to the second terminal, then go to the third terminal, which is not a very smooth experience, I would say, because touching your mouse again and again adds friction. It usually decreases your speed. So there is a terminal emulator named Terminator. For example, this is the by default terminal which you will get, and this is Terminator which I have installed. Terminator allows you to split your terminal by keyboard commands, by shortcut keys, I would say. So you don't have to touch your mouse again and again. For example, if you press Control, Shift, and O, press Control, Shift, and O together, then your terminal will be horizontally splitted into two different terminals. Now just select one terminal. For example, I have selected this terminal by clicking it. Now press Control plus Shift and Control, Shift, and E together. Then you can see your terminal is now vertically splitted. Uh, Vertically splitted into two parts. Just press a terminal and then press Control plus Shift E. Now your terminal is vertically splitted into 4 parts. For example, here, so it is basically, as you can see, in a single window, you basically get to use 4 different terminals. You can see the outputs of each of these terminals simultaneously, like what is being displayed here, what is being displayed here, what is being displayed here, what is being displayed here. This is much more convenient than this terminal here, where we have to manually press this command to open multiple terminal instances. Then you have to use your mouse to navigate to each one of them. So Terminator basically allows you to split a single terminal into multiple terminal instances, which is more preferred for a faster development experience, which is I would recommend you to install Terminator. If let's suppose I want to destroy this terminal here, 4 different terminals are being opened. If I want to destroy this terminal, then I will just click on this terminal once, and then I will press Control, Shift, and W together. So now that terminal is destroyed. Now if I want to destroy this one also, then I will press Control, Shift, W. So basically Control, Shift, O is used for splitting a terminal horizontally. Control, Shift, E is used for splitting a terminal vertically, and Control, Shift, W is used for destroying a terminal. So these are 3 keyboard shortcuts which will make your development work, which will much faster. So this is why I would recommend installing Terminator. The command to install Terminator is, let me show you the command to install Terminator. By default, you have the following terminal. Just open this terminal and type sudo snap install Terminator. I think I have made some error here. Just 1 second. Let me Google the correct command. Commands to install Terminator in Ubuntu. Sudo apt. All right, by mistake I have written here snap instead of apt. So just replace snap with apt. Sudo apt install Terminator. Press enter, and as you can see here, a message is being displayed that Terminator is already the newest version. So since in my laptop terminal is installed, so this message is being displayed. In your system, the download process will start and your terminal will be installed. Then you can, just go here, type terminal, and Terminator, and you will get Terminator here. Just click on it and you can start using it. So use the sudo apt install Terminator command and you can start using Terminator. So now basically I would recommend that you should install these 3 tools: Gedit, VS Code, and Terminator. These 3 tools will help us a lot in our ROS work. You can use ROS too without in these 3 tools. You can use some another IDE instead of VS Code. You can use some another text editor instead of Gedit. You can use the default terminal instead of Terminator. but I would recommend these because these basically increases your speed and it provides you with a lot of convenience. So these are the part of setting up your environment. Basically, I would say setting up your environment for ROS 2. Your environment for ROS 2. So if first we studied how to source ROS2, which is the command, that source command. Then we installed Gedit, we installed VS Code, we installed Terminator. After these tools are successfully installed, we can start learning ROS2. So make sure you proceed further after these three tools are correctly installed. If you are having some doubt or you want to know about some alternatives which you can use apart from these tools due to any other reason, then you can ask me freely about it in the comments section. I don't think there is any problem you will face with these tools because these are all lightweight tools. VS Code might be a bit heavy, but as far as the other tools are concerned, which are Gedit and Terminator, then these two are very light. Even if you have a modest hardware, it will work fine, completely fine, because it doesn't require just opening a terminal or opening a text editor. Doesn't requires heavy computational resources. So even in modest laptops, this setup will work completely fine. Now, after you have installed these three tools and you have learned how to source your ROS2 workspace, we can basically start learning some things about ROS2. So as I told in the, if I tell you too much theory, then you might get bored. Many people are interested in, jumping quickly to learn how to use ROS2 practically, which I also think is very good. But you should know some things about what is ROS, what I've already explained what is ROS2 in the last video. But should know how we make projects or how we describe the code of a robot inside ROS2. So inside ROS2, there is basically a folder named Workspace. Workspace. A folder which is called Workspace. I would not say named Workspace. A folder called Workspace. You can assign any name to your Workspace folder. Assign and inside all the development work which we do related to our robot is done inside this folder, inside our workspace. So all the work which we do, all the coding which we do, all the ROS related development work which we do is always done inside a workspace. A workspace usually has four folders inside it. The first one is src, the second one is build, uh, the third one is install, and the fourth one is log. These four are the most commonly found folders inside our workspace: source, build, install, log. Workspace is also a folder only, basically. Workspace is also a folder, and inside this folder there are four folders again found inside this folder, which are src, build, install, log. And as ROS2 developers, we always, in fact, 100% of the time we work inside the src folder. For 100% of our time we work inside this folder. Build, install, and log, these folders are automatically generated by ROS2, so you don't have to worry much about them. These are automatically generated by ROS2. Our main work will be inside this folder. Now so first, basically, before continuing with ROS, now I would say we are now in a situation where we can start studying ROS. So before start studying, we will create a workspace where we will basically do all our development work. So now let's start studying the ROS2 in a proper manner. Till now we were doing the work which was related to setup, I would say, or environmental related work to make our development experience more smoother. But now is the time where we will actually start learning ROS. Let me just handle my laptop. All right. So now we will start learning ROS. To do so, open your terminal, I would say. Just open your Terminator, which you have installed. And since you have already typed the source command in your .bashrc file, so you can just run ROS2 to confirm that the environment of ROS2 is already sourced. As I explained earlier, that basically all the work we do related to ROS2 is done inside a folder named Workspace. So basically, first we will create our workspace. Workspace is a folder, and in Linux, we can choose any name for our folder, any name which we wish. But it is always recommended that the name of your folder should not contain special characters apart from underscore. For example, the name of you can include the following names. You can write ROS2. This is a valid folder name. I would say recommended folder name, I would say uh, your name. For example, your name is John, so this is also a valid folder name. But if folder names like this @ROS2 @John or asterisk John, something like that, which contains special characters, is not a recommended folder structure of Linux. You should not use special characters in the name of your folders. This is not the recommended approach of Linux. The only special character which is allowed is underscore. So create names. You can create folders with the names like ROS2 underscore WS. Here WS stands for workspace, about which we just discussed. So WS stands for workspace. You can use names like John underscore. So basically, the only permitted special symbol is underscore. The symbols like @ or hyphen is also a permitted folder name, but I would recommend using underscore. And @ or hashtag or dollar or any other special symbol. It is not like that you cannot use it. You can use it. You can use symbols like dollar or hashtag in the names of your folders, but it is not recommended. If you find ROS2 packages on GitHub or ROS2 projects on GitHub, then you will also always find that the names of folders and packages consist of underscore and not any other special character. So which is why I would not recommend adding @ or asterisk or any other such special character to the name of your folder. Why I am telling you these all stuff? Because now we will basically create a workspace. We will learn how to create a workspace. So now after you have opened the terminal, we will, as stated earlier, a ROS workspace is basically just a folder, and a folder is also known as directory. A folder is also known as directory. So the command to create folders in Linux is mkdir. Here I am writing mkdir. Mkdir means make directory. So this command is used for creating folders. Mkdir. For example, I am writing mkdir, and let's suppose the name of my workspace is, I have chosen ROS2 underscore WS. So I have written mkdir space ROS2 underscore WS. Now, after I press enter, a folder named ROS2 underscore WS will be created. Let's suppose I have pressed enter. Now I will use the ls command. Ls means list files and folders. So after, when I press ls commands, you can search. You will, as you can see here, a folder named ROS2 underscore WS has been created. This folder was created because we ran the following command mkdir ROS2 underscore WS. Mkdir basically stands for make directory, and ROS2 underscore WS is the name of our folder. So basically, by this command, we were telling our Linux operating system to make a command in the root directory of our system named ROS2 underscore WS. Sorry, not make a command, to make a folder named ROS2 underscore WS. Now how I can start working inside this folder, ROS2 underscore ws folder. To go inside a folder, the command is cd. Cd means change directory. So mkdir means make directory, and cd means change directory. Cd allows you to change the current working directory of your system. For example, as you can see here, a tilde sign is there. This sign states that we are currently in the root of our Linux operating system. If we want to go inside some another operating system, then if we have to basically type cd ros2 underscore ws, which means I want to go inside this folder. This command tells Linux that I want to go inside this folder. Now I will press enter. Now I'm inside this folder. If I will use ls command now, then nothing will be displayed because this folder is basically empty. Ls commands displays the files and folders inside the folder in which we are currently in. Here we are in the root directory of our system, so all the files and folders present in the root directory of our system are being displayed. But here we are inside our new folder which we just created, which is basically empty. So there is nothing inside this folder ros2 underscore ws. Now, as I stated earlier, as I told here, that basically a source command exists inside every workspace. Inside every workspace you have to create this source command, otherwise you won't be able to write your code. Because as you can see here, I have written all the 100% work is done inside the source command. So inside the source folder, sorry. So without creating source folder, you won't be able to do any work. So basically our first job is to create source folder inside our workspace. How we can do that? Just like we created our workspace, we can create the source folder. Just go to your terminal and make sure you are inside your workspace. Here, if you're inside your workspace, you will see ros2 underscore ws is written. Now I will write mkdir src. So the full form of source is src. So we have to basically create a folder named src, mkdir src. After we write this command and press enter, now if I use the ls command, you can see there is a folder named src. Earlier nothing was displayed when we used ls commands, because earlier this folder ros2 underscore ws was empty. But now I created src folder using the mkdir src command. So now when I'm using the ls command, I can actually see a folder named src there, which confirms that it has been created. Now basically, after now, as you can, you don't have to individually create all the folders. After you have created src folders, the build, install and log folders will automatically get generated once you build your workspace. What do I mean by building a workspace? You will understand what do I mean by building a workspace later in this course. For now, just after creating your src folder, just run colcon build. This will build your workspace. After you will run colcon build, and then if you will use the ls command, you will see that now 3 more folders, which are build, install and log. These 3 folders have been automatically created. Earlier they didn't exist, but now they have been created after we ran colcon build command. So whenever you use Colcon build command, ROS2 automatically generates the build, install and log folders. You don't have to create them individually. You have to just create your workspace and then go inside that workspace and then create the src folder using mkdir src command, and then you have to just run colcon build command. After running colcon build command, the other 3 folders required in your workspace will automatically be handled by ROS2 itself. You have to just focus on src folder. So now this is basically, in this video, I would say we downloaded the required tools to set up our environment, including Terminator. 1 second. So in this command, we learned how to source ROS2. We installed Gedit. We installed VS Code. we installed Terminator, and we created a workspace just now. Our workspace, which was basically the name of our workspace was ROS2 underscore WS, a ROS2 workspace. Inside this workspace, we created source folder. Source folder created src folder, which is basically the source folder inside our workspace. And then we builded our ROS2 workspace. One second. So we have done this much work in this video. Now what we need to do, we need to learn how to create packages. How to create packages, which we will learn in the next video. The motive of this video was to help you start using ROS2. Basically, creating the workspace and src folder and building the workspace are the initial stages which you need to learn before you can start using ROS2. Now from next video onwards, we will create packages. And we usually work inside this packages. So from next video, we will create packages, and we will basically understand how we can write nodes, and we will write nodes in Python. In the next class, we will create a package and we will write Python nodes. We will also understand what nodes are. Since you are a beginner, you might be not knowing what are even Python nodes. Sorry, ROS2 nodes. So what are nodes, how we can create Python nodes, how we can create packages. So these all things we will cover in our next video. So thank you everyone. This video concludes here.